What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Motivation Monday. Hopefully you got up, got dressed, got your coffee, got out the door, and are out making a difference today. Today on Motivational Monday, we're going to be talking about balance. Welcome back, you guys. On today's Motivation Monday, we're going to be talking about balance. Got my guest here, 911 Strong. How long have you been in law enforcement?
19 years.
19 years. I have been doing this for 6 years, and ever since I started in law enforcement, I was always told by senior officers and leaders at my department that balance is important. Would you agree?
Absolutely. As hard as we work on this job, you've got to enjoy life just as much.
Absolutely. So, in that sense, enjoying life and having balance between work and life, 911 Strong was kind enough to open up his home to me and invite me in this week. We're out here exploring Southern California. He's showing me all the sights and all the things that it has to offer. So let's dive into the topic.
Yeah.
Now, for me, as a younger officer, I'm 6 years into this. Even for me, I have found that it is difficult sometimes to find that healthy balance between work and having a social life or a personal life.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard in marriages, marriages go into that 7-year itch in about year 7, and I think it's the same in law enforcement. You're kind of off balance because as motivated as a lot of young cops are, you want to give everything you have into your career, whether it's to impress the bosses, to get to a specialized unit. Your focus is this new, exciting profession.
Sure.
So once you get to about year 7, that's when you realize some of the friendships and relationships you've had that you alienated because you put so much focus in your career might be deteriorating.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's when a lot of guys get that 7-year itch. So you're in year 6, and you're probably there. Before you came out here, we discussed you flying out to Southern California because you need a break.
Sure.
And this is a great way to gain that balance and perspective back because you've heard the phrase, you work hard, you play hard, and that's essential in law enforcement. A lot of people eat, breathe, and sleep our career, but I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but my mantra is, it's a calling, absolutely, but it's a job at the end of the day. It doesn't identify who I am.
Absolutely.
Law enforcement is a career, it's a great calling, but although my title is law enforcement officer, it's not who I am. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I like to make funny videos. And I think what you see in social media are examples of people who have found balance. Because if you can find the time to get on Instagram and Facebook, it means you probably have other aspects of your life in order. Because sitting down these days, it's a hard thing to do.
So you brought up some really good points of the 7-year itch, alienating people, wanting to make a good impression on the department, along with developing yourself as a human being outside of law enforcement. Now, for me, being on the newer side of law enforcement, I absolutely agree. And one of my mentors was really, really good about, hey, be really conscientious about how much time you are investing into this. It is so easy to get wrapped up in law enforcement and make that your sole focus in life, and then everything else around you falls apart. And I'm guilty of that. I found myself getting burned out because I was doing so much overtime, so many extra things for the department, and at some point I had to go, you know what? This is getting to be too much. I need to do my job, work the road, and have one other focus, because it is not benefiting the department any, and it's not making me look good because I've got too many, my attention is being pulled in too many directions.
Right. And that's where setting a list of priorities is in order. I'm just talking, off camera. I know your priorities are the same as mine, and it's been that way my entire life. It's always been faith, family, and then my career. And you've got to have your faith in order, because that gives you your moral compass.
Absolutely.
It gives you the direction of how everything else falls in line. And in our household, even though my wife and I are the head of the household, really God is at the head of the household, so we let him dictate how our family operates also. And it also falls in line to our careers. So in your career, we talk about having a moral compass and then getting into the dangerous slippery slope. And if you don't have that moral compass in order, then it's hard to be focused on how to do your job professionally and not get in trouble.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Especially when you're being overworking yourself in this field, it's really you can get bogged down, you can get tired, and yet that's when you really start getting frayed around the edges, and that's when mistakes happen, and you lose your temper, and something bad happens, and you end up on YouTube, the news, whatever the case may be, and you gotta have that separation of work hard, play hard, have your downtime so that you can focus yourself on your faith and your family and get recentered and not let those other important things, become, secondary just to the job.
And you mentioned you had a mentor early, and I highly recommend that for anybody that's new in law enforcement. Having a mentor that has had some experience on the job and maybe a little bit more life experience is essential.
Absolutely.
Because we had this talk earlier at lunch. We talked about the fact that this generation is bringing up a generation of instant gratification.
Yep.
And I think it's a society thing. I don't think it's just in law enforcement, but we're guilty of it because a lot of people like to label our profession when it comes to divorce rates and anger management and whatnot. But the truth is, as a population, our marriage success rate isn't too high, right?
Mm-hmm.
If 50% of marriages are surviving, why would that be labeled on just law enforcement?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, we fall into that equation, but we have a very, very tough job. And if someone would have came to me early in my career as a mentor, like you're lucky enough to have, and told me, hey kid, these are the ropes, this is the formula into which you can be happy, I would have probably had a better time instead of navigating through the hoops trying to figure it out. But I'm glad I did.
Absolutely.
Because it's fortified where I am now. If you can get past that 7-year itch and you can get past that stage where things become difficult, you'll come out a better person on the other end and a better officer.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we were talking about as well, not letting the job define you. And this is really important. And I want you guys to hear me. Do not let this job become who you are solely. To be a good officer, you have to have more interest than just the job. In this day and age, and you can relate to this, people see us in such a different light because of the media and social media, that you really have to go out there and win the people over, because it has been an uphill battle for us for the last couple of years. And if you have zero interest or zero things that make you that you can relate to people, and that you can get these connections to people on the road or during your investigations, it's really going to be a detriment to you as an officer.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I agree, but at the same time, I think we're our own worst enemies. We've talked about this before. As a profession, we're made up of people that are alphas, right? We're used to being the leaders of the pack. We're used to working amongst other alphas. But because of that, we guard, we subdue our emotions. We hold it all in.
Sure.
And everybody's got a cap to where,
Oh, absolutely.
that jar is going to burst.
Yeah.
And that's what people tend to see.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thinks about looking at us twice when we're calm and collected. But part of being calm and collected is putting away your emotions and hiding them so you can perform your job.
Mm-hmm.
But all those emotions have to go somewhere, and they're bottled up in us, unfortunately. And it's unfortunately when we blow up that people see that. That's what makes the news. That's what makes it on YouTube.
Absolutely.
So we need a healthy outlet.
Yes.
For me, I've got an hour-and-a-half long commute, so I decompress on my drive home.
There you go.
We had a good workout this morning. That's another thing. That's physical fitness.
Huge,
right?
Huge.
Why would it be 50% of the academy throughout the duration of the academy if it wasn't so important?
Exactly.
Our learning domains are a couple weeks long, and then we move on to the next subject, the next subject. But if what's consistent in the academy is PT, our physical training starts at the beginning and finishes on the last day. Why is that so important in the academy? Because they're trying to drill in you good, healthy habits. That these habits are going to help you vent and release some of those emotions, and it should stick with you. And unfortunately, after the academy, a lot of guys are like, I don't have to PT anymore, so I don't need to do that. But
we were talking about the physical fitness, and that to me goes hand in hand with setting those healthy boundaries and having that separation of, you got to do these things because this job is stressful. Our living is made off of, solving other people's problems.
Absolutely.
And if you take all that in and you don't handle it, and you go home and you come through the door and the wife's like, you didn't do the dishes, boom, there goes that top.
Oh yeah, your top blows right off. The thing is, whether it's physical fitness, reading a book, everybody's got different outlets, whether it's creative or physical. You got to find out what that is. And unfortunately, for me, I didn't realize what that was until I started taking my long commute home.
Yeah.
I'm like, this really works for me. I need that time before I get home to tackle the wife and the kids who are angry because they've been cooped up in the house all day, and then I come home and I can't talk about my bad day.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, you need to have some sort of release before you get home. Otherwise, your home life becomes pretty destructive as well, and that's just another contributor to your bottled up tension.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I really appreciate you joining me on Motivation Monday. Hopefully, you guys have an awesome week, and we will talk to you later.